Okay, so there is a lot that I have been sitting with, and I have just been told to just dive in and just say it and just do it. Okay, so my husband and I have recently we've been watching, and I have a cold, so that's why I sound like this. But we were watching, was it the Testament of Moses or something like that? It's like a 3 episode series on Netflix, right? And I remember watching it, and my knowledge only goes as far back to what is it, DreamWorks, Prince of Egypt, or something like that, the story of Moses. So this is where I'm getting my information about the story of Moses, not the Bible. Like I said, I never really read the Bible before. Like that wasn't a thing for me. So I'm just now getting to the point of reading my Bible. Anyways, give you background. What I knew about the story of Moses came from DreamWorks. Okay, it's embarrassing to say, but it's true. Like, and you guys know, I'm completely honest when I come on here, and I'm completely honest in my day-to-day life. But anyways, so we were watching this Testament, and I'm over here and I'm recalling some things. I'm able to remember some things. I'm like, okay, this lines up, that lines up. Some things were like blatantly different. For example, his mother. I did not know his mother was actually in his life for the first 3 years. Like, one of the midwives ended up bringing him back to his mom and all this other stuff. So, long story short, I made it to the end of episode 3, the end of the story, and Moses passes away. And in my head, I don't know why, but I was under the impression that Moses was like, he never actually passed away on human land, that he was kind of like taken into the heavens and he like got to bypass actually passing away. So I don't know where I'm getting that story from, or maybe that is an actual story in the Bible. I'm not really sure. But anyways, what really hit me and what hit me hard, it was that he never made it to the promised land. 40 years this man spent dedicating his life to spreading the message and the divine will of God. And homie never made it to the promised land. So I'm sitting here and I'm like trying to resonate with it and I'm trying to like make sense of it. So let me pull out my notes. So the thought that came to me, it was all the work that Moses did, and he didn't even make it to the promised land. That's actually kind of effed up low key. This is literally like, the thoughts that are coming out of my head. Um, so Moses, he did give everything, his obedience, his leadership, his entire life, guiding a people who not only doubted him, but they disrespected him, tested both him and God. And after all that, he wasn't allowed to enter the promised land. So, maybe I should plug in. Actually, I just hope that the sound on this is okay because I don't have my little speaker thing on. But anyways, so he only got to take a glimpse at it from a distance, never actually stepping foot on that soil, that sweet, sweet promised soil that he had been working so hard and so diligently for his entire life, really. Well, not his entire life, but you know what I mean. So it does feel like a betrayal. It does feel like the cost of leadership was too high. It does stir that the feelings of, is this even worth it? If I can't partake in everything that I'm promising to everyone else, in everything that I know is to come, and I never actually get to sit with it, I never actually get to enjoy it, is it worth it? Okay, so but here is what the message that lies underneath all of that. And it's so much bigger than just Moses, right? So Moses didn't step foot on that land because he was the land. He was the soil that birthed the generation who would inherit it. He was the container that carried divine instruction, miracles, and law. And he was gathered to his ancestors not in failure, but in completion. Sometimes your purpose is to build the road, not ride it. Sometimes your legacy is what you get. Sometimes your legacy is not what you get, but what you make possible for others. Oh my goodness. Like I get like, oh my gosh, right? So, It doesn't mean it's easy or fair or what you wanted, but it is holy. And in Matthew 17, when Jesus stands transfigured on the mountain, who appears next to him in glory? Moses. So he did make it to the real promised land, not the land here on earth, but he secured his spot in heaven. Period. So he made it to the promised land, the eternal promised land, okay? So you're not forgotten. You're just being written into a bigger story. This is than what you can see right here in this lifetime. And it makes me think of, like I said, my husband and I were watching it. Back then, what do you mean you just stepped foot into the desert and you knew where a tribe was? What do you mean you didn't have GPS? What do you mean you didn't have, like, you had to follow the stars to find somebody? Oh, you're exactly 14,287 paces away from the North Star. Girl, I couldn't have done it. I could not have done it. But thinking about how the world looked back then versus the way the world looks right now, even as far as how we've come with technology, like even my notes, technically, y'all see it, you know what it is. But we have access to so many resources, so much information, and so much technology that our ancestors, we are living their wildest dreams right now, even when it just comes to technology. Not even where it comes to the fact that I'm married to a white man. We have a mixed race daughter. We're going to have mixed race children, and we can walk down the street. Yeah, sometimes, every now and again, we'll get a little stare or whatever. But I like to think it's just because we're so cute, okay? I'm not going to sit here and allow myself to go down that dark path or whatever is what I'm trying to say. But you are your ancestors' wildest dreams, period. And they all paved the way for you to be where you're at right now. So no, they never got to experience the promised land. You do, but you do. So you have to also take that into consideration when you're building the road for what is to come after you. How do you want that promised land to look for your children, your children's children? Like, you know what I mean? So these are all things that we don't necessarily think about on the grand scheme of things, but it's been thought about for us. It's been already acted on for us. That's why we're able to relax and experience what we're able to right now. Who's to say that we're not living in the promised land right now? But you're always hoping, expecting, and waiting for something else to come along when you're in the promised land right now. It's crazy. So, I did pull some of my Psalms cards, and I'll try to do it fast because I think I'm running out of time here. So Psalms 106:19, and I just shuffled, and this is what came out, the golden calf. So this is when Moses went to Mount Sinai, and he got the 10 Commandments from the Lord, and when he came back, they had already built like a false god because they just lost faith that Moses was going to come back. So don't be in a hurry. The calf of Horeb, that is the golden calf at Sinai. So weird that I pulled this card and I just watched that. Anyways, reflect the Hebrews' impatience for divine contact. According to the sacred text, Moses, who served as their sole mediator in with the heavenly realm, journeyed to the top of Mount Sinai, where he remained for 40 days and nights. During this time, the people didn't hear a single word from him. In their desperation, they fashioned a golden calf to coax the divine into their midst. For them, the calf, which is a bull, represented the creatures that pulled the divine's chariot. So blah, 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 it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. But basically, the moral of the story is the divine will reach you when the time is right. Remember, the divine sense of timing isn't the same as ours, okay? We cannot force the divine to move on human time, on human concept, on human minds. The next one I got is Psalms 121:1. Oh, I got 15 seconds. You'll get the help you'll need. Closer is he than breathing, and nearer than hands and feet. So look around yourself in every direction. You'll find your soul friend who can help you and tie that much needed knot. Okay, bye.